chapter, we are going to explore changing the look and feel of your website. This is accomplished by configuring your site's theme. Your site's theme is responsible for the colors, background images, fonts, and layout. Some themes allow you to configure even more settings. Our demonstration site uses a theme by the name of Bartik. Let's take a look at the configuration options. We do this by clicking on Appearance. You can see Bartik is our default theme. Another enabled theme on our site is 7, and we have several disabled themes. Further down on the page, we can see that we have set our administration theme to use the 7 theme. These are the options that come with Drupal by default. And we can go ahead and configure them a little bit further. Let's click on Settings for the Bartik theme. The first thing we see are some options to play with different colors. We can pick from some defaults where colors change, and we can even change them a little bit further. So I'm going to click on Text Color and make it red. As we scroll down, we get to see how our changes have been affected. Other options are our toggle displays. This is actually something that comes with Drupal core, where we can say that we want to display elements like the logo, the site name, site slogan, and so forth. We also can set what we'd like our logo image to be, or what we'd like our shortcut icon settings to look like. That's our favicon. So let's save our configurations that we made with the colors. We can close the overlay and see our changes in action. Isn't this beautiful? So let's go back to our themes and make another couple changes. Actually, before that, I wanted to point something out. We have settings here which take us to the specific Bartik settings. If we click on the sub-tab for settings, you're going to notice that that toggle display that I mentioned and the logo and the favicon are all that's available. We also have in Bartik, if you scroll down, those same settings, and for administration theme, those same settings. What I want to point out is if you never change in either of or any of your enabled themes, these toggle displays, it will always utilize whatever you change in the global settings. So if I turn off my logo in global settings, the same thing will happen in Bartik and 7. But if I decide to make a change in Bartik, it will now no longer listen to what those global settings are. And that can get really confusing keeping things in order. So what I recommend doing is making your changes to these toggled items in the active theme where you actually want those changed. That way you can keep track of them better. So we just made a bunch of cool changes as far as colors and things like that. Another thing I mentioned is your layout is also controlled by your theme. And your layout consists of regions, and regions are used when you place blocks. So we need to take a look at the block administration page to really understand how this layout in Bartik works. So we're going to click on Structure and Blocks, and then we're going to click on Demonstrate Block Regions for the Bartik theme. And this shows you what your regions are. There's a lot of regions here. We've got header and featured and highlighted and triptych and footers, 5 different footer ones. And it shows how the layout is. Every theme gets to define regions. They can have any number of regions and can put them in any place that they'd like. So it's important once you start playing with your theme is to understand where these regions are and how it's affected when you place your blocks. Now changing the colors of this site and putting blocks in different places might be enough for you. You might achieve your desired goals, but what if you want your site to look like something completely different? Well, that's okay. We can download themes on Drupal.org. If we go back to the appearances, at the top it says alternative themes are available. So I'm going to open that in a new tab. This brings you to the main landing page on Drupal.org where all of the themes are. And you can see there are 964 themes. That's kind of overwhelming. what I like to do when I'm picking a theme, if it's for a simple site and I really don't expect myself to customize it further, I really pick a theme looking at its screenshot. Some of the ones at the top I'm going to skip over, but if we look here at Marinelli, you can see, okay, this is a nice dark blue. We've got square icons. Well, that looks really nice. Danland, it's got a nice gradient, a big image on the front page. That might be something I like as well. This one looks like it comes with multiple colors. So that's really one way to pick out your theme. Another thing to keep in mind is this page by default sorts by the most installed. So that also can help you figure out, well, if this is a popular theme, chances are there aren't too many bugs with it. Same goes with themes as it does with modules. As you want to take a look at the issue queue, for example, we'll click on Zen and take a look at open issues to total issues. That gives a good indication of, is this being actively maintained? Another thing is when commits are being made. Gosh, 6 hours ago, this sounds like this is a pretty active theme. Then again, this usage stats that I had mentioned, you can scroll down and see that 80,000 sites are currently using this theme. So that's a couple things that you can look at. Another thing to consider is the concept of base themes. And I'm sure you're going to hear this mentioned as you talk to people. Base themes oftentimes are just black and white, but they provide a structure for you. Some of them follow grid systems. Some of them promise to be responsive, so they look. Your site will look really good on a mobile phone versus a tablet versus a computer screen. So those are some other things to consider. There's actually a link here that talks about sub-theming structure and inheritance. When you have a base theme, you then need to create a sub-theme so that you can inherit the structure of the base theme and then make your changes. You can write your own custom sub-themes. It's easy enough to do that. We have an entire series on theming where you can learn about that. There are also contributed sub-themes. If we scroll through this list here, let's see if I can find a good one. Right here, this one says Omega is a responsive HTML5 base theme based on the 960 grid system. So this base theme actually does a lot. It provides you a lot of structure. Now you're going to need to know, at the very, very least, CSS, so you can add in your own colors and background images. Base themes are a great way to go if you're looking for something highly customized. If we take a look at, see, Picture Reloaded, it's powered by the adaptive theme. So this is a sub-theme of the adaptive theme. Let's take a look at this Aquamarina. It says right here, the Fusion base theme is required. If we take a look at the Fusion base theme, it actually gives us a list of some of the sub-themes that have already been created and contributed to Drupal.org that utilize the power of a base theme. So I can go on and on about how wonderful it is for something highly customized to start with a base theme, but a lot of times all you really want is to download it, make a couple changes, and you're good to go. So I'm actually, for this demonstration, going to pick a theme called 0 Point. I am picking 0 Point solely because I like the little bubble icon. And that is it. And it's got a great name too. So the way that we download a theme for the first time is nearly identical to the same way we do it with modules. So we need to go ahead and right-click on the download link and copy the link address. We're going to go back to our site. We're going to click on Install New Theme. We're going to paste that URL and click Install. And what this is doing is it's going ahead and downloading that project for us. Then we need to go ahead and enable it. It now appears under our disabled themes. The other element that it did is if we take a look at our site, if we go into Sites, All Themes, you can see we now have the 0-point theme and all of the components of it. So I want to enable this theme and set it as the default theme. So I'll go ahead and click on that link, and let's take a look and see what our site is doing now. So I'm going to click on the home button, and here's that great little bubble that I said. There's a whole new header. The boxes around the blocks in the left column, well, those have a different style to it. Overall, everything has a very different look and feel. Let's see what configurations are available for this theme. So we'll click on Appearance and the Settings. And this theme starts off by showing us those default or global settings. We also have some other options. I have a drop down here where I can pick a new color. I can have an adaptive width versus a fluid or a fixed width. Gosh, there's lots and lots of settings on this one. What should my sidebar layout be? Do I want it to be variable or fixed? Now, each of these decisions are unique to the theme itself. So no matter which theme you download, there are going to be a bunch of checkboxes and select boxes for you to look at, and they're all unique. Oftentimes, themes will have a README file that will help you understand what each of these are. So for starters, all I did was I changed my style to ink. So I'm going to go ahead and save. We'll go back to the front page, it will reload, and now we have more blue on our site. Another important thing to note are these regions that I mentioned before. So let's take a look at 0 points regions by going into the block configuration section and clicking on Demonstrate Block Regions. You can see these regions are very different from Bartik. Looks like we have a bunch of extra regions called user and then a number, so basically you can do whatever you want with those. We have headers and footers in the content area, which are all pretty standard as well. So just to recap, to pick a theme, you can go ahead to drupal.org/project/themes. One thing that is potentially helpful is sorting by most installed, filter compatibility to the API version of Drupal that you're working with, so 7x in this case. You do get a much smaller list. Another thing I discussed was the concept of a base theme, whereas a base theme really only contains the structure, elements like potentially a grid system, some HTML definitions saying that this is an HTML5 versus XHTML theme. There's also information on mobile. Is it a responsive layout? Information like that. So those are really great for you customizing a theme on your own. There are also some contributed sub-themes of those base themes, which you can take a look at, often listed on the main project page. And then there are those themes that are just meant to stand alone that you go ahead and pick yourself based on, does it have the right amount of regions for what I want to accomplish? Are the colors right? Things like that. Just very, very simple decisions just so you can customize the look and feel of your website. So here we go. Now our website is displaying the 0 point theme, and it's using the ink style.